Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about why I gave The Fine Print by Lauren Asher only 2 stars. I know it's super controversial. A lot of people are talking about this on BookTok and the world of BookTube. Everyone and their mother loves this book and I don't get the hype. So we're going to be talking about all the reasons why I didn't like this book. And if you haven't already, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So if you haven't heard of this book, which I would be surprised if you haven't, if you are into romance at all, this is very popular. A lot of people have been talking about this book or this series, the Dreamland Billionaire series. And in theory, it has a lot of good qualities that would make people interested in reading this book. It grabbed my attention off the bat because I love the whole billionaire grumpy sunshine trope. I think that's very fun and it's popular right now, so it just grabbed my attention, and BookTok unfortunately led me astray in this because I read it going into it with such high hopes and it just completely disappointed me. It wasn't anything like I thought it would be, and yeah. The story is about Rowan and Zara. So Rowan is essentially like the heir. Him and his brothers are set to inherit a very large amount or percentage of their grandfather's company, and it's essentially like Disneyland but in this world, in this book. And in order for him to receive his inheritance, he has to basically revamp the park. They each have their own jobs to do within the park. He is in charge of the creative department and has to change up a bunch of the rides or just the theme park in general. So that's how he meets Zara, who becomes the new creative designer working in the creative team department. And like I said before, it is a grumpy sunshine, so he is the grumpy boss. He is very intimidating. A lot of people are scared to come up to him and talk to him. He can, get you fired just like this by looking at you. Whereas she is a salon. She works at the salon at the theme park and she submits a proposal for the creative department, and that's how she gets the job and meets Rowan. And essentially it just goes from there. There's a lot of banter back and forth. We get more information on both of their backstories, where they come from, why they are the way that they are, and their love story kind of just goes from there. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a great book, Allie. Why didn't you like it, Allie? Well, I will tell you why I didn't like it. And I have a whole paper of like front to back, guys. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about here. So if you guys are interested in reading this book, I mean, you totally can see for yourself whether it's something you would like or not. I will be talking a little more about specifics on why I didn't like the book. I'm not going to get into any really major spoilers, but if you feel like stopping, go ahead, feel free to just stop it, read the book, and then come back later. You totally can. But I will be getting into a little more details on some specific aspects of the characters. And again, if you don't want to know any of this, you just want to go into the book blind, feel free to do so, but I will be talking about them from here on out. There are a few things that I really liked about this book. One being, I love the setting. I love that it took place in a theme park and the whole like Disney World vibes. There's like the whole castle. She works in the castle and turns the girls into princesses, and that there's the, the inner workings of theme parks. How are they run? How to create rides and special effects, and just the whole charisma of a theme park, how to make it stand out. I love that. I think that's super fun, and who doesn't want to know more about what goes on in a theme park, right? I also love that the little sister of Zara is she has Down syndrome, and we see her and her friends, they go into like a club and they like help them out. It's like a big brother mentorship program with them, and her character in this is so funny. I absolutely loved her relationship with Rowan. It was very fun. It was really cute banter. So I really liked the inclusion of that and how they were able to make specific elements of the park inclusive for people with special needs, and I thought that was really sweet to include in the book. Another thing I really liked about this book was the parts where he's watching Pride and Prejudice for her and she never really asks him to. He just does it anyway because he knows that she loves the movies, and makes me want to ask my own husband if he would just go ahead and just watch all the movies for me so we can talk about them and you can see why I love them so much. But neither here nor there. But now we're gonna get into the tea and we're gonna talk about things I didn't like. Probably the biggest thing was the writing. I think it was so cheesy. It was very choppy. It was a very fast read, and I think that's in large part to the writing style. It wasn't very like fluffy. There wasn't a lot of filler text, so it's really fast, a very fast book to get through. Especially on Kindle, I got through it in like maybe a day. But again, when there's a grumpy sunshine and you have that banter back and forth, there's just sometimes it's too much and it can make the book really, really cringy. There was moments where I had like in public reading this book and I just was going like this, why do books make me do that? It's like watching scenes of The Office when Michael does something really awkward and you're just like, I don't want to watch this. It's like a train wreck. And their conversations were like that to me for pretty much the entire book. This grumpy sunshine trope in like the billionaire, like regular girl trope, it is fun, but it is very predictable. And you kind of go into that, you know that going into the book or a book like this, that is going to be kind of a predictable plot and you already know how it's going to go. But what really bothered me about this was the fact that the hero, there's a lot of instances where Rowan is just unnecessarily mean and grumpy for no apparent reason. And I guess it does make sense because of his backstory, which you'll read about a little more, but it was just too much and I feel like it was unnecessary. I would have preferred him to be, if he was going to be grumpy, just because he is like a grumpy guy, not because of some really weird reasons that aren't still a reason to be a mean person, if that makes sense. And there were instances where like you're just being mean, you're not grumpy. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. Grumpy is like Batman. Mean is like schoolyard bully, and he was like teetering this line and I didn't like it. Zara's character, in my opinion, was just completely unrealistic for the whole grumpy sunshine trope. She's very sunshiny, happy-go-lucky, but then when she's with Rowan and she gets the job, she's immediately very impolite and rude, and I just feel like that didn't go with the trope of the book, and she could have been a lot nicer and more respectful, like as an employee. It just wasn't realistic at all, especially with a guy that is that mean and has a reputation of being mean to his employees. Like, how did you not fire her for how she talked to you? You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't make sense. Also noticed this in the book by a thread by Lucy Score, which she writes a lot of Grumpy Sunshine novels as well, and that book was the same thing. Like, I just didn't understand, how do you talk back to your boss like this? I just didn't understand how, like, from day one, she was completely rude and impolite, and their banter back and forth, everyone can hear, and there's no repercussions. Like, it was just very unrealistic to me, and I didn't appreciate it. I would have preferred it if she was just happy and, like, extra nice all the time, and that's kind of what stirs him on and makes him, like, more attracted to her, versus this weird power play thing they have going on. I feel like they've been doing this in a lot of more books recently, where they make the heroine more blunt and just saying what she thinks and is always extroverted and says what's on her mind, and it's just unrealistic, especially for me. Like, I'm not that person at all. So a lot of these heroines I've been reading lately, and maybe that's why this book just really triggered me, is like, it's just not me, and I don't know many people that are like this anyway, and I don't necessarily like people that are like this. I don't know. It was just too aggressive. She was way too aggressive for me, and it was only with him. It wasn't for anyone else. Like, there's people in her life that she could also be this way with, but she's only like that with Rowan, and it just didn't line up. It didn't match at all, and I found it unnecessary. One of the things that were like so cringy to me were there's scenes where they're talking and Zara does something and Rowan comments that his twitches, and I just like, what is that? And there was multiple scenes where that happened, and I'm like, dude, do you have a medical condition? I don't understand what's happening here. Is that a thing? Don't answer this. This is rhetorical, but I found it to be kind of funny. So I felt like it was a book that had a lot of potential, and it just fell short in a lot of areas. Like I said, I love the trope, and there are so much better books out there, which is why I only gave it 2 stars. In fact, if you're looking for a really good Grumpy Sunshine book, I will link them below. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata and Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score are 2 Grumpy Sunshine books that I think you will enjoy a lot more than this one. Again, the writing style just wasn't there for me, and it just fell flat. I'm going to read the next one in the series. I think it's called Terms and Conditions. I heard that one was better, so we'll give it a go. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. There's 3 books in this series, so we'll see how it goes, but that's pretty much all my thoughts on the fine print, and I feel like there's nothing much more to say. Again, if you haven't read it, more power to you if you want to, but I would probably not. I will leave in the comments down below a link to my Goodreads, and you can read a full in-depth review of my thoughts. And again, you can check out the books in the links in my Amazon shop below. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. I'm always looking for more book recommendations. But until next time, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!